What's going on, everyone? Diablo 4 just had their campfire live stream where they dropped a lot of really nice information with changes that are coming to the game. Some that will be rolling out as early as the next couple weeks during the preseason, and others will be coming in Season 1 and some as late as Season 2. So, jumping right into these changes, first we're going to talk about Nightmare Dungeons. Nightmare Dungeons have been a huge topic of discussion within the community, and they have been listening, and they are buffing Nightmare Dungeon rewards and experience. So, Nightmare Dungeons are going to be a much more lucrative source of farming for players when you get access to them. But more importantly, even more important than that, they're adding an incredible quality of life feature to Nightmare Dungeons, to the sigils, I should say. So normally when you go and pick a sigil and you activate it, all right, it's going to open up the location for it, and you're going to see it on your map right here like this, and you'll see that you have to teleport to one of the waypoints normally and then run to that dungeon. Well, what they are doing instead is now when you activate a sigil, it is going to open up a teleport to that Nightmare Dungeon for you. So that is a great quality of life addition that is going to cut down on a lot of unnecessary additional travel time and make chain running Nightmare Dungeons much more appealing and enjoyable as well. Additionally, in the preseason, one of the things that they're going to be adding is a increase to the limits of your material sources. So some people discovered that there are capped limits to the amount of veiled crystals that you can have and other resources, and they are increasing the overall material caps for the resources that are available to you. Now, Season 1 is going to bring about some of the other changes, some of the things to talk about with Renown. So there have been some big confusions about the Renown and how it's going to work, and originally everybody thought that when you completed your Renown, that it meant all of this progress right here was going to be carried over into the seasons. That is not the case. All right. So what they're doing is somewhere in between with that. Right. So all of the areas discovered that you have, as well as your altars of Lilith, your completion for them that you have, those will all carry over. So all the stats and Paragon points that you've gotten from the Altars of Lilith, as well as the ones that you've collected and the areas that you've discovered, those are all going to be counted at the beginning of a new season. All right. So when you open up your map, you'll see all of your areas that you've discovered. All the Fog of War will be removed, but the waypoints won't be discovered. You'll see where the Lilith statues are that you have clicked on and collected. If you have some that you still haven't collected, those will still be invisible. But the ones that you have collected will still be there. And so what they're going to do is you are going to get the Renown completion for the areas discovered, as well as the Altars of Lilith, in a prorated format. So you are going to automatically start with that amount of Renown completed on your progress bar here. So that's going to give you the first 2 unlocks definitively. If you've discovered all the Altars of Lilith, as well as, you know, your areas discovered, that's going to give you a nice amount, but you are still going to have to go and discover the individual waypoints. You're still going to have to do side quests, strongholds, sign dungeons to unlock the rest of your Renown again, based on what they said on this live stream. This could still change in the future, depending on people's feedback, because I know a lot of people aren't keen on redoing a lot of this stuff, but you know, redoing strongholds and side dungeons aren't really a big deal, especially because those are decent sources of experience as well while leveling. But I know it can be a little repetitious to have to redo those things every season, so this may be something that only sticks around for the first season or two. We'll see. But moving on from that, the bigger changes that they're targeting for Season 2 are going to be one of the ones a lot of people have been asking about, and that's gems. So gems normally take up a lot of inventory space. However, we're not going to be getting a gem tab, okay? They are going to be moving gems to your material storage. So instead of there being a gem tab here in your inventory, they're going to add a category for gems here that all of your gems are automatically going to go there, and you will have access to them there. So gems aren't even going to take up any inventory space at all, so you don't have to worry about them in your storage or your regular inventory. They're just straight up going to be in the material section here, where you will have them completely out of the way. So if you pick them up whatsoever, you don't need to worry about trashing them or anything like that. You can just have your infinite supply of gems stashed away right here in your bag. Additionally, they did acknowledge that resistances are not working the way that they would want them to be working right now, and a big part of that being that armor is giving 50% of its resistance to elemental resistances as well. So people are kind of just stacking armor for everything right now and aren't really worrying about resistances themselves. So they're going to be taking a look at resistances as a stat as a whole and how it works and the math around it, but that's not going to see some changes until season 2 estimatedly. So the reason for a lot of this season 2 stuff is a lot of the stuff for season 1 is already completed and done and has been submitted for certification because of consoles, right? They have to submit all this stuff beforehand for them to be certified for the patches to go through and everything. So a lot of the stuff for season 1 is already done, and some of this other stuff is just, it has to wait until season 2 because of the process and the QA that has to happen for some of these things. A big one that they are talking about as well that was brought up was the disconnect protection. So as you know, right now we do have these scrolls of escape, and so the disconnect protection they talked about, it's going to be added. It's looking to be coming in season 2. They wanted to be very clear that it is not going to be a 100% guaranteed thing for every disconnect scenario that occurs. Sometimes there's some lagging that can happen with disconnects and your character doesn't disconnect right away. But generally speaking, the way it's supposed to work, okay, it's not 100% perfect, but the way it's being designed is that when your character disconnects, it should automatically consume one of your scrolls of escape, and that will teleport your character out from wherever it is, and your character will be safe. So keep in mind, you do need a scroll of escape for this to work, and it will use one of your scrolls of escape. So if you don't have any scrolls of escape on you, you don't have any disconnect protection still. It doesn't exist for you. All right, so it's important to keep that in mind when talking about this. But, that's just the current situation around it. That was the main stuff. That was, the big changes that were coming. They talked some very lightly about other things, like the loot pools being, bugged for druids, getting some barbarian stuff, and, some visual effects for necromancer being bugs and not working the way they're supposed to. So, there's a lot of, little stuff that's coming, as well as just, a big patch is on the way with a lot of updates and class tuning that's going to be going on. So really awesome stuff that they're doing overall. But those were the big main things that are coming in the next few weeks, as well as in the first 2 seasons. I'm sure there will be a lot more on the actual development side of stuff, but this is just what they shared with us in this fireside chat today. So love to see it. What did you guys like most about it, from it, that you saw? What change are you most looking forward to? Let us know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Take care and have a